So, I'm going to be doing this, mix up a little epoxy and talk to you guys for a little while. Maybe do more working videos, right? Hope you can hear this. I'm in a barn here in Central Texas, working on my boat. And people wondering why I would want to go through all the problems of building a boat. Oops. Well, there's a lot of reasons, you know. Just about anybody can buy one. Any craftsman really can build one. But it takes a little bit more of an effort to actually design one and build it. And that's what I did. So it's 32 feet, kind of a flat bottom with a keel on it so I can go into shallow waters. And I can go out to sea in it too. Mostly on nice days. So, and I'm going to be going back into what I termed as environmental shamanism. And so basically it's just working with people in a shamanic capacity out in nature, in the environment. I mean, I do that anyway, because a lot of times, I do a lot of old school teachings, which is out, in the forest. So this is the epoxy I'm making up. And because nature is a great place for teaching and learning and reflection and stuff like that. So, but what's going to be different about this is I'll be doing it back out at sea. About 30 years ago, I was doing this with Dolphin Research Center down in the Keys, Florida. Manny Rodriguez was running that back then. I don't know who's doing it now. And I would work on their boats, fix boats, and they'd let me stay at their place or hang with the dolphins and stuff. I mean, I had an investment company then in real estate, so it was a nice way for me to relax and get back in tune with nature after working around bankers and investors and all that stuff all the time. Yeah, how I got into that's kind of a long story, but anyway. So, did diving, but there was a few times when I went out and we rescued some dolphins, some sea turtles, pilot whales. A lot of it was sometimes just going out and helping cut them loose from fishermen's nets, lobster pots, stuff like that, because they're, they don't understand that if they go too close to these things, they get trapped, I mean, how would they know that, right? So we go through that. Beach cleanup. I've done beach cleanup in Fort Lauderdale for a long time, And it's just amazing, you clean it all up and then trash comes back. And here's something that people don't understand, that a lot of the trash that gets into the ocean and around the reefs doesn't really come from people on the beach. It can come from people in the neighborhoods 10 miles from the beach, because it blows away from the trash can, it goes down, it rains, it goes down the curb, goes into the canals, it goes into the river, and then eventually just blows into the beach. And this stuff traps fish, it pollutes things. When I moved to Fort Lauderdale, the reefs were just beautiful 30 plus years ago. Looked like you're in some fluorescent movie. I mean, it was just awesome. And then the first reef close to the shore started to die out, covered in algae, and then finally there was 3 sets of reefs in there, and then now all of them are just covered in algae and looking kind of dead, And it's people, the bottom line is not, they want to blame it on the big companies and stuff, but no, it's people, everyday person doing it. Realistically, if people were to say, what would you suggest for people to help pollution? Is there one real thing, Yeah. Again, let me remind people that all resources go to human beings. Period. That's it. The animals don't need this stuff. They don't need plastic and fuel and all that. They're adapted pretty well for that. It's people. And since the earlier time, every civilization had a landfill, a dump, where they put stuff, and so what would be my cure, if I was doing, is birth control, or at least planned birthing. I mean, you get some people, religions and cultures, it's like, oh, accept all the children God give you, blah, blah, blah. You don't really have to do that. You don't have to. We have the means. I'm mixing a powder in this to sand it, makes it easier to sand. Highly carcinogenic. So, but all resources go to human beings. If there were less human beings, you wouldn't need all that. Now, of course, there's somebody that's on the internet talking about reducing the population through vaccines. By the way, I haven't had a shot of any time in about 40 years. Not saying I haven't gotten sick, but it's been rare, really rare, and it's usually when I let my immune system go down. So why do this? Why do the environmental shamanism, blah, blah? Is because the other thing that happens when you're out at sea, if you're in nature, it reconnects people with their humanity. We've only been in the industrial stuff and, a couple hundred years, and, just in my short life, 62 years, technology is just blown up, I remember making phone calls on what's called a party line, meaning that one farm shared a phone connection, not even a number, with maybe 4 or 5 other phones or farms, over like 50 miles, and you just picked it up and it was an open line. You saw who was on it, like, oh, sorry to bother you. Check out later. Imagine that, right? People are like, what? It had nothing to do with any parties, So I'm building this boat so I can take people out, but I also building it to show people, especially men, that don't get stuck into that thing where you have to go do things somebody else's way. No, you don't. You can do it your way. Your way is just fine. You don't have to have the prince. You don't have the Vikings, Phoenicians, all these other people. They went all over the place. Excuse me, and from building boats without plans other than just sharing knowledge. And that's the other thing I want to do. Show people that, don't be afraid to try an idea. You might make some miscalculations, but that's okay. You can correct it later. Go out and be yourself, try something, do something. Excuse me, yes, this stuff is toxic. I normally wear a mask, but I just thought I'd go ahead and do this one time without it. Won't kill me today. All right. So then what I do is put this into like one of these baker bags they do icing with. Sometimes it collapses, So it's like, well, you're doing environmentalism and you're using these chemicals to build a boat. Well, yeah, I use plywood too. I use lumber. But what am I supposed to do? Go out and start cutting down trees? But why do you have to do that? There's other boats for sale. Yes, and they do this thing called leaching, especially the polyester boats, and that creates a problem for the environment. A lot of times I'd be polluting more by rebuilding one of those boats than I'm doing here. I have a lot cleaner of a boat building system. So I put it in these baker bags and it comes out like icing, and it's easy for me to do my body work. So that means that pretty soon I'm going to run out of time, so I have to cut this video short. But I'm going to be doing more stuff about the environmental shamanism, more things outside, and you guys follow, subscribe, hit the like button, share it, all that, and I'll catch up with you guys later. See ya.